Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I am Jordan. Today we are going to check out the Rebel Cask Strength Bourbon here. Now, we just finished up doing the Rebel 10-year. Was a little disappointed in that one. And before that, the Chattanooga Cask Strength. So here we are rocking in with the special limited edition Rebel Cask Strength single barrel. This is hand selected by Mr. Liquor, 2023. So this is a special edition that I got from Mr. Liquor in Rapid City, South Dakota. This is barrel number 775-7209. Barrel was filled on August 18th, 2017. So it's a little bit young. It's, let's see, 2017, 2023. What is that? 6 years? Okay, so maybe it's not that young. 60% ABV, so 120 proof. Distilled and aged in Kentucky. Let's see here. Hand selected and extraordinary, weeded, defiantly smooth. Nelson County, Kentucky, and they got their GSP number on there. What else do we need to know here? Nothing. Let's now I haven't even opened this yet, so we're gonna open it on camera, which, as everybody knows, is not my strong suit. Hey, that went pretty good. My hands don't always work the best. So yeah, I was a little bit disappointed in that Rebel 10. So this is younger by about 4 years, potentially. Let's say 4 or 5 years. So this is probably 5 or 6 year old whiskey, depending on when they bottled it exactly. Versus the 10-year. They're both single barrel products, and this has 20 proof points more, so 10% more ABV on it. Let's see. It said Mr. Liquor on it, and I think I said this in the last video, but cask strength at Mr. Liquor, $54.99, so $55 is what I paid for a cask strength versus the 10-year. I paid what, $40 more for that. So almost double, but what is it? I can't do math. What is that? 80% more that I paid for that bottle to get 4 or 5 more years out of it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it was worth it. And again, single barrel products, both of them, you never know what you're going to get. So it could be good, could be bad, could be anything. But again, it's a store pick, hand selected. Typically, not always true, but typically with the store picks, if they really put their effort into it and they really got together and maybe had 3, 4, 5 people who are really good at picking apart whiskey, maybe they came up with an excellent barrel. The other side of that coin is a lot of places are doing cash grabs where they themselves, well, there's two things actually. They themselves either are like, hey, we don't care, just slap our name on it and give us a barrel. We don't care what it is. So that you're still just rolling the dice. You have no idea whether or not it's going to be good or bad, whatever. Or the other side of that is what is more common, because most of these places that are sourcing whiskey, they got millions of barrels. Now here, I don't know if all these barrels are specifically allocated to Luxco. I'm betting they're not. But whoever the major distiller is that they're sourcing from have millions of barrels. So in this case, this is barrel number 7,757,209. That's the barrel number. So you never know what you're gonna get, and so because of that many barrels, oftentimes these places that sort or that are the source for these distilleries or bottlers or DSPs, I guess. What they'll do is they'll provide 4 or 5 barrels to sample at a sampling. So, they got millions of barrels to choose from, and they're like, hey, check out these 5 barrels or 4 barrels and pick one of those. So that also could be the deal. But at the bottom line, as long as there were humans involved in the tasting decisions going into this, your chances are you're going to end up with a much better barrel. So go with the store picks when you can, where you can. They tend to be better most of the time. Throw out a random number, 80%. 80% of the time, it works every time. I don't know. But something to look for. And for, like I said, 80% less cost, you got to go with that for sure. So Mr. Liquor in Rapid City, South Dakota. Now, I will say this. They have a really good selection of whiskey there. Their Scotch section could use some help, a person like myself, but you know what? It's South Dakota. I don't suspect that their Scotch clientele is anywhere near as the rest of their other whiskeys, but they got really decent prices for the most part, and they got a pretty good selection of stuff, and they definitely have stuff that I cannot find here in Wyoming, so that's always nice. Okay, this is going to be interesting because on the nose, I could stick my nose all the way in here and breathe deep, and that smells like an 80 proof whiskey. There is no ethanol biting at the nostril at all, and there's not even a heft in the nose. There's like, it's really subtle. Um, and with that, uh, it's been sitting here for a while, so it should have opened up a fair bit. So let's give her a good, as Matt ADHD Whiskey says, an SJ, give it a swirl job here and get it going. See if we can get something out of this. Mm-mm. I mean, it's super subtle. Little bit of peanut in the background, little bit of caramel. I'm digging here, folks. I get some sweet notes on the edge, brown sugar, caramel, whatever you want to say. A little bit of honey. Now I'm picking up some more of that ethanol on the sides here. But all in all, it's pretty tamped down. There's a little bit of a sweeter note, a little bit of that confectioner sugar in there. So it's kind of hitting some of the same notes that the Rebel 10 had. But man, is it subdued in this glass. So let's see what it does on the taste. Wow. Okay, number one, I like it more than the 10 by a lot. Number two, that proof does not show up at all until the very last little bit of the flavor profile. And I will say, I was saying that this Rebel 10 year drank hotter than the 100 proof that it is stamped as. This drinks less hot than that Rebel 10. So the proof doesn't kick in to the end, and it hits more like what I suspect, or not suspect, expect a 100 proof whiskey to hit that. So from the beginning, it was very sweet, pleasant, creamy mouthfeel and texture, a little bit oily, viscous off to the sides, but it was bringing that sweet brown sugar caramel density, viscosity, creaminess, and then it moved into a nice light cherry in the middle. And then at the end, it finished with some oak, a very nice, pleasant oak, um, a little bit of the barrel tannin bitterness in there. So there's like a distinct oak flavor and then a distinct barrel tannin in there. Um, and then the proof came out at the finish along with a little bit of black pepper in there. There was a little bit of graham cracker sprinkled in there, but it was a very pleasant, well balanced sip start to finish. I will say the proof kind of came through at the end and really built that up, but it was very nice. And at 50, what did I say, 54.99? So call it $55. Yeah, for $55, that's a hitter all day long. Now in the nose, it's still really subdued. Getting a little corn dust now of all things. A little bit of brown sugar, a little bit of sweet notes kind of coming through, a little bit of sugars, but not a whole lot of stuff's going on in there. It's pretty tamped down. There's a little bit of candy sweetness out of the bottom of the glass here. Hard candy. But, I mean, the nose is pretty subtle. Going back into it. Very mild up front as far as proof. Sweet, brown sugar, caramel, moves into that honey. And then there's a little bit of graham cracker. Then a little bit of proof kind of bites with some black pepper, kind of mid-palate. And then it moves into that oak. And then the finish comes out strong with just a little bit of proof, a little bit of oak tannin, and a nice sweet under note in there along with some graham cracker. I mean, it is well balanced, easy sipping, especially for the proof. I like the hell out of this versus the 10. I would say this is a much better flavor profile, at least today in the order that I drank them. I'm really digging this one. Now, I only have a drop of whiskey in there, but I'm going to put literally 1 drop of water into this just because it is 120 proof. 1 drop of water. Let's see what that did. Just curious. It did not really wake up that nose at all. Well, maybe a little bit. A pretty strong caramel came through. Caramel. I don't know. What do you guys say? Drop in the comments down below. Is it caramel or caramel? But it's pretty good. But it's in the background. It's not the forward thing. Like, it's definitely the most dominating nose scent. But it's not the most forward thing. Like, there's a whole lot of nothing, and then in the background is where that note comes from. But it's like kind of the only one that I'm picking up. So, look, there's just a little bit in there of whiskey, so we'll see what that does. I'm undecided. That 1 drop of water made it more spiky in a good way. Like, it separated out different flavor components, but it also brought that proof up to hit a little bit harder in unexpected places. It brought out more graham cracker, more barrel tannic notes, and it really flattened out the first 2 beats of that flavor profile. With the water, it is enjoyable. I think I like it better just straight up. No water, no nothing. I think that's the way to drink that one. So there you go. Drop in the comments down below what you think of the Rebel Cask Strength. If you've had a chance to drink it, I'd love to hear your thoughts. It is a single barrel product, as I've mentioned multiple times. I am digging this way more than the Rebel 10. And, let me know what you pay for it. $55. I'm going to pay $55 for this all day, every day. If I'm drinking a bourbon, $55, very reasonable for a single barrel product that is absolutely delicious and carries the weight with it. So there you go. Drop in the comments down below what you can find a bottle for in your area, any experiences you have with it. Check us out on BitChute and Rumble if you haven't already. Life and Whiskey, as always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.